You know, when you go to hell and you start trying to take a gander at Satan, that's what we call a demon peak. This is also Demon Peak from Kayak Games. It's built on a monogame-based engine, so it's not quite FNA, but it's using the same core. You can pick it up for about $5. What is it? In Demon Peak, you play as a nameless warrior trapped in the depths of an unholy mountain, as opposed to Jodorowsky's Holy Mountain. Explore the mysterious and perilous environments, fight against a multitude of different enemies, and gather magical abilities to overcome the mountain's evil inhabitants. These guys did send us some copies. Good on them for that. So it faces the CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. 4 chairs means that it's just so good. I need to go towel myself off. Give me a minute. And we also got our categories that do mix with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off because it is hot as balls in here. Then, makers of the working, Demon Peak. Go.
Ubuntu 1604 Box Business LTS 8150 with a 980 display to UHD, which I don't bother with the hipster pixel nonsense doing that. Well, didn't have too many issues. Like Strider will point out, this critter does lock onto your default sound sync and it refuses to let go. And it's kind of a legit problem. Since most people have speakers and a headset, headphones, something like that, if I have to quit your game, change my default sync, then restart, you done goof, son. You did. You're getting dinged a chair for that. And something to keep in mind, this could be one of the multitude of reasons that you don't see many people streaming Demon's Peak. So, out of the gate, we're talking 3.
Yeah, on Fedora 2664-bit with the i7-6700K GTX 980 and the NVMe drive. The loading takes forever. I have no idea why, especially because this is coming off the NVMe drive that I copied 500 gigs to in, under 10 minutes. So that's a little fucky. Beyond that, everything worked out of the box perfectly well, so I'll give it 4.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried playing this game on my TV and didn't work out. I mean, it worked fine, and I couldn't change the sound output to go to my TV. And I have this exact same issue with speedrunners. I mean, that's a pretty minimal issue. And that's the only thing I've noticed. I mean, I just like Van pointed out, this is a mono game. This is not Unity. And for some reason, they do ship Windows and Mac version of the game with your Linux build. So, yeah, I mean, other than that, everything works just fine. So I'm just going to give it just 4 chairs.
All right, well, that's 3 chairs for mix with the working. Up next is the shiny and the sounds. Ben, how did it look? How did it sound?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is semi-well-done hipster pixel 2D art. The main character kind of looks out of place or maybe from a different game. Everything for your color palette, what you're looking at, is brown mixed with varying shades of dark. Not much to look at. It's not fugly, but So about the sound effects, kind of meh. And the background noise, the music, if you want to call it that, very short loop on that business, kind of causing me to take off my headsets and put them somewhere other than my ears. Here's the thing. It's not lazily done. I got to give you that. Definitely put some work into it. It kind of looks like something, maybe a hybrid between a Neo Geo game and something with the color palette of a Genesis, but it's not perfect, doesn't do anything original, and that big gear attack sounds, all right, they're kind of there. Your background music, I see where you tried. An effort was made. I'll give you that, and for that, I'm going to give you 3 chairs.
Yeah, at this point, you got to be pulling something like a Hyper Light Drifter or an Owlboy and have a rad-ass soundtrack to make me give you more than 2 chairs if you got a hipster pixel game. I mean, everything is competently done. It has that sort of Castlevania meets Ninja Gaiden mashup appeal to it, or appearance to it. And I have no real issues with the soundtrack or the graphics, really. It's just really meh. It's unremarkable. And at this point, hipster pixel has been done to death. You got to start doing something to push what people can... push the envelope, push the borders a little bit. Make me go, wow, this is legitimately pretty. Otherwise, you get...
Yeah, this is something really, really close to what you will actually get on a 16-bit console, like the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. And I will go and say that has more of a Genesis vibe to it. For some reason, I mean, I have no reason to say that, but yeah, this would be released on the Sega, and this would seem legit. As you would expect, there's not a whole lot of options for graphics settings, but you can go crazy with the scanlines options. You can give it like color filters, like change the width of the scanlines and all that kind of stuff. It's really well done. And on top of the graphics that are really good, the music is excellent. The music, like, it's totally what you would expect from a Metroidvania style of game, but each track is unique and it has its own style, which really fits to its environment. And for most part, it has this Castlevania feel to it, but for other levels, it has this kind of Super Metroid vibe, and I really, really like the music. Yeah, and on top of that, if that wasn't good enough, the save points are giant cats in rooms with smaller cats. So, yeah, this gets 4 chairs all the way, and it deserves it.
So
very well done.
We just learned that Strider is infested with Toxoplasma gondii and is suffering from toxoplasmosis. Anyways, we get 3 chairs for Shiny in the Sounds. Up next is Control.
Hey, let's just be honest, I'm kind of spoiled by Hollow Knight because Hollow Knight has proven that you can have tight, responsive controls in 2017. This has neither. You know, out of the box, check this business out. It binded movement to the analog stick of all things on my Xclone controller. However, everything is rebindable in this hipster pixel business. So you don't get 1 chair for this. And I don't like using these words, but this is something that definitely needs the controls tightened up. This is a precision platformer, and it doesn't have precision controls. Completely serviceable controls, but there is that little bit of delay between the press and between the movement that is not the gold standard set by Hollow Knight. So I will say, out of the box, it did work with the Xclone controller. I was able to rebind from the analog back to the D-pad where you'd want to play it giggity, and didn't have any issues with that. So functional 2 chairs.
Yeah, I get that they want you to be able to moonwalk dash, but number one, the dash is really just for running away. It doesn't let you actually dodge enemies, which is really, really not fun. But I'm not a fan of the way they implemented it by default. If you want the context dash, where you just dash forwards and backwards based on what direction you're facing, you can enable it in the menu. The general movement and attacking is fine, though. The issues I have is for those jumps where you have to jump in and out and up and down and around through all these various obstacles. When you start needing to do those jumps, the controls really starts to expose the lack of general, as Ben said, tightness. There's like this weird delay. I find calibrating those jumps really, really annoying, especially when you're getting shot at and you only have like a split second to readjust and then you just die. You do that a lot in this game, by the way. You just die. So it's very serviceable. They give you the option to rebind, so you can rebind stuff to your preference. But still, I'm going to give it 2.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to disagree with here, because controls are exactly what you would expect from a game you would get on a 16-bit era console like the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. Not quite the Genesis, because it requires more buttons than the Genesis has. But I started playing the game with the Xbox controller. It was really good, really responsive. And then I switched to the Super Nintendo. Well, not really Super Nintendo, but the Buffalo Super Nintendo lookalike controller that is a Super Nintendo clone controller. And it was even better. It's really tight. It's really responsive. It's really anything you would want to. And if it doesn't fit you, you can rebind anything. That said, I didn't have anything to rebind because the defaults were really good. Even when you switch from controller to controller, it's using SDL2. So it will remap the controller just the way you want it to be. And you won't have to remap stuff based on what controller you're currently using. That's really, really good. I haven't had any problems with the controls. Really good. And it gets 4 chairs for me.
All right. Well, that is 2 whole chairs for the controls. Let's round this off. Ben, did you enjoy Demon Peak?
Here is the subjective opinion part of the thing. Hey, man, check this out. You know what? Your furry save points really failed, just absolutely do fail to jive with the rest of the game. No hate. I'm just saying. So, prepare yourself because Dark Souls comparison is incoming. Why question mark? Because Demon Peak is Dark Souls hard. And developers. Dark Souls is a great series, despite it being unforgivably fuck you hard. Not because of it, okay? You can't slap a YOLO difficulty filter on your game and expect it to garner the same amount of respect and attention as Dark Souls. Take a shot every time I say Dark Souls. Another major problem with this game is the map, because your map sucks donkey arse. And I have no idea, none, where the hell I'm at. Then I saw the speedrunning setting. Yes, there's a speedrun setting. Seriously, if I see that setting, you just told me that your game was designed from the ground up to allow me to bullshit my way past enemies. And guess what? You can. But most importantly, at the end of the day, if you build a game with speedrunning in mind, you miss the goddamn point, son. The shite is only remotely interesting because people have found ways to hack around games that were never meant to be beat in a certain amount of time. If you're building a game for it to be speedrun, it's just not cool, man. But speaking of enemies, that you can just fuck over in this game, jump over, go around, pay them no attention, because speedrunning, I would like a little bit of hitback. And I know the engine's capable of it because that one guy with the spear whacked me halfway across the fucking map while the other ones don't do shit. That makes it a little bit difficult. What do you have here? You have kind of a Castlevania light on a budget. I don't like using Metroidvania. You got some shit you can collect, abilities, your standard abilities. You get an upgraded attack, then you get fucking wings. And I guess somewhere later in the game, maybe you'll get the ability to dash while in air. That would have been helpful out of the gate. But
you didn't get that.
Yeah. Listen, man, it's wicked cheap. Again, this is not a lazily done game. It's got all the parts that could have made something really fun and entertaining, but I didn't ever rage quit this game. I've closed this game with a Vulcan nerve pinch of Alt F4 on multiple occasions. I like to call it a meh quit, or like, fuck this game. Quit, and I have to come back because we have to put the time into it for the review. I even sat down this morning to give it another go, and then you just end up in this intentional fuck box of like, see how hard it is? It's like, see how quick I'm closed your game? Thanks for the review. If I'd bought this, I would have returned this shit within 30 minutes. And I'm not making that business up. So, you only get 1 share.
I really gotta echo that knockback sentiment. It just gets annoying when, oh, hey, I took damage. Oh, hey, now he's attacking me again. And I'm dead. The whole attack, then run away, and then attack, and then run away is really, really boring. And considering that's the intended strategy for the fights, yeah, color me bored. It's either that or, like Ben said, you bypass all the enemies, which I found eventually it's after dying for the umpteenth time, I'm like, okay, whatever. What's the fastest way through this? Because I really don't want to deal with this again. And then sometimes I just can't make those jumps because I'm not really good at this game. So it's just back to hit and run away, hit and run away, hit and running away. Metroidvania style games are sort of a hit or miss for me. I never really played Metroid or anything like that back in the day when I was a wee lad, so I don't really have any attachment to the format. Stuff like Owlboy and Hollow Knight I really enjoy, but that's because those are like really well done games. Stuff like this is not really my cup of chainsaw. I mean, so the game opens up once you get the double jump, which is kind of nice, but it devolves more into the same thing. Hey, attack, run away, attack, run away, attack, run away. And the exploration part of the formula is not that great either. Like, it does the Paul Jacquet thing where the levels back in on themselves eventually, which is kind of nice, but the navigation is a pain, and I don't know. It just really doesn't do it for me. Also, on the topic of the save points, as a cat owner, when I see a cat's face poking out a hole, my first instinct is stay the fuck away from it, because if you go anywhere near it, you're going to get a face full of claws and teeth. But, you know, here they're the save points. I mean, it's pretty weird. I'm just going to give it one chair. Not my dice.
Okay, so if there's one game genre that I'm personally a fan of is Metroidvania style of game. Dust, The Elysian Tale, All Boy, and AM2R those are some of my favorite Linux games, and Super Metroid is one of my all-time favorite game. So this game delivers just what I like because it's competently done just the way I like it to be. So now let's go back to that Dark Souls comparison for a minute, if you will. I've noticed that in past years, comparing a game to Dark Souls is the lazy way to putting a label to any game where you die more than 3 times on the same spot. Like, oh, it's hard, I died. Oh, it's like Dark Souls, right? Huh. Yeah, it's not an LGC thing. It's even with big YouTubers like Jim Sterling or Total Biscuit, I've heard that same stuff from them. I mean, but overall, this thing is even funnier when coming from people who haven't even touched Dark Souls in their life. I mean, I don't think Ven has installed Dark Souls, right? Okay, so now back to the game. Back to the actual game that doesn't even remotely look like Dark Souls. I mean, it doesn't play like it doesn't feel like it doesn't really have anything to do with it. You know what game is hard as well? Metroid. Oh, and you know what other game is also hard? Castlevania. Oh, what doesn't make Metroidvania, right? Huh. Who guessed? So yeah, it is hard. It is, you will die a bunch of times, but it's not that hard. It's hard, yes, but with patience and training, you will get out of any situation you're in. Bosses, it's a different matter. They kill you with a couple of hits, so since I don't like to spend too much time on spelling a boss, I usually go out and find a let's play or watch. I just want to watch someone else beat the boss before I do. That's just how I play my games, because I don't want to waste time. I mean, I've wasted like maybe 20 tries on the first boss. One of the first bosses, the Eurofence, that will kill you in just one hit if you're not careful. I finished. I did manage to beat it today, and it wasn't that hard once you knew how to beat it. That said, yes, the map system feels a bit clunky. That's because the rooms you're visiting are much larger than what you would expect in a Metroid game, for example. Metroid, like, they have this one screen equals one square on the map kind of thing. Here it's not this at all. One square on the map is huge. It will have like several screens of level gunplay. and I've learned how to deal with it and how to appreciate it. And now I'm really okay with it because it makes you remember the map and it makes you remember the level and setup. The overall map, the game map is not overly huge so that you won't get lost like a whole lot in it. It does have a speedrun setting. I don't think this is here. Okay. The speedrun setting, only thing it does, it puts a timer on the bottom left of your screen with your playtime. That's all. That's all it does. It puts a timer on your screen. So, if you're going for a speedrun, enable this. If you're not, just leave it as is. You don't have to use it. And on your first playthrough, you won't be using the speedrun setting. On the other hand, I'm interested in going through the game once again when I really know the map and I really know the game to make it through in a really short time. That's really interesting. That said, it's not a negative point. It's positive. You know what type of game is really popular among speedrunners? Super Metroid. Super Metroid is super popular with speedrunners. So this is a good thing. Because once you beat in the game, you can go back and beat your time. That said, it's not a super long game. It's said to be about 3 hours long. But I've put 5 hours on it. Mostly because I'm not very good at this type of game. I like it a lot, but I'm not very good. I tend to die a lot, to get lost a lot. So I guess on my next playthrough, I'll get it done in 2 hours or something like this. And also, there's a big difference between finishing the game and getting all the items, because there are tons of items you can get. So many. I mean, these are items that will make you go and have moves like in Street Fighter, like left, right makes you throw a spear, or down, up will make you uppercuts, or you have down, up with the strong attack will make you a bigger uppercut. And this is necessary if you want to progress into the game and want to get through all the power-ups. I mean, this is just great. It's just making
how good is it on a scale from 1 to 4 chairs?
All the way. It deserves 4 chairs.
All right. Thank you, Strider. My beard has grown at least 4 inches in length, which is impressive because it grows really, really slowly in the interim. But that's 2 chairs for fun. Tally all that up, and we get the Strider. 2 chairs. So, final thoughts, Ben.
Well, I think the real score for this game is 1 chair with an asterisk. It's always great for us to bring on amateur game reviewers like Strider and kind of get their opinion. And it's fun to watch somebody outtalk Pedro. That was also fascinating. And completely miss points that were made and bring up counterpoints that were borderline laughable.
No, because it didn't exist. It didn't exist. It is points.
Hey, buddy, guess what? I got a mute button for you, and I let you talk, so you do the same for me. That's how it works. Isn't it beautiful? It's an all right game for the price. I'll say this. Like, it was like $3. I'd say pick it up, try it. If it's not your thing, send it back. If you really like the Metroids, maybe that's good. Maybe you dig that business. Me personally, it's just lacking something to glue it together, man. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's only $5. I mean, of all of the things considered, it's only $5. So if you're anything into Metroidvanias, like, if you liked Owlboy, if you like Dust, if you are like AM Tour, just get this game. It's awesome. Its reputation seems to have been hurt by its early access days because it seemed to have been really glitchy and unfinished back when it was in early access. That is why you shouldn't release your games in early access before they're almost done. I mean, like not alpha stage, but release candidate stage. Other than that, I mean, I didn't have anything to complain about the game. It's spot on. It's a really, really well-made game.
It's not my bag. I mean, if you're into Metroidvania, this might be something that appeals to you. I don't know.
Yes.
I just feel like there's some fundamental flaws with the core gameplay that at least don't make it appeal to me.